this week's episode of Fan Service, where Harley is currently dealing with some family matters, and Gavin is on the run for the Cult of Nook after exposing certain things that we're not allowed to talk about. Come on, Gavin, you do better. This week I have with me, thankfully, because she can't run away from me, I have Courtney.
Hello, y'all. You won't see me very often, but you'll see me like every now and then.
She'll.
By seeing me, I mean, hi. This is all you see of me on Pocky's video.
Yep, so that's us. She doesn't have a webcam yet, so we've got to get that worked on. Also, the way she's pointed, it'd be kind of weird to look at the background. So, all right. So this week, welcome to Fan Service, a weekly geek field trip into the world of pop culture and all things odd and cool. We just like to welcome everybody, and so let's begin this week's subject by talking about what's been going on. Cordy, what have you been doing this week?
Working on writing a game that is almost to completion. I won't have it ready by the time that this current deadline is up, but it's definitely something I'm pursuing. It's currently in the playtesting phase, and it should be ready within the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Excellent. That's good. Because you're doing it for a contest, and
I was doing it for a contest. I just need to put in my official notice that, hey, I'm just dropping down to the game design portion, not the judging portion.
yeah, so it's all good. This
My
week,
poor ego.
This week I've been working on a lot of doing mostly playing video games, trying to get some further along, watching some animes. Not a lot to do right now. Can't go out. So instead, we've been working on content for you guys. Speaking of content for you guys, after the show, I will be streaming live some video games.
Mm-hmm.
We're making it happen. So, speaking of content, let's get on to this week's subjects. Yeah, so if you remember back, what was it, like 5 or 6 years ago, they made a Percy Jackson
movie.
Yeah, it was a movie. Had this all really to do with the book. It was not very connected at all.
Yeah. I mean, it was visually appealing, but now that I actually am more familiar with the source material, God, what were they thinking?
Yeah, the kind of surprising that like he was pretty descriptive and about his books, and it was really well written. The guy's actually the gentleman who writes it is actually from San Antonio.
Yeah, actually, I can't remember if it was him or Paolini that I met once, because I know Paolini is also a local, I think.
Yeah, but with that, Disney Plus has announced they're going to be doing a Percy Jackson TV series. I'm assuming each season will be one of the books. There's actually 4 books in the Percy Jackson.
I think there are 7 books in the Lightning Thief series.
Well, it's Percy Jackson and the Children of Olympus because it actually goes from Olympus
to the Roman equivalent. No, he starts in Greek mythology because
the Roman pantheon, and
then he explores Roman.
The Norse mythology.
Now that is Magnus Chase, is the Norse mythology.
And then there's another franchise dealing with the Egyptian mythology.
Yeah.
Actually, the writers got Egypt, Greece, Rome, and Norse down. So Disney Plus has basically announced that they're going to be turning this into a TV series, live action or animated. Hasn't been said yet.
I'm hoping live action with a decent budget, but I'm also hoping that Rick Riordan maintains a lot of control over the project, because Rick Riordan did a lot for representation in the young adult novel community. A lot of his characters are either just straight up not white, not straight, not cisgender, or any variation thereof. Like, a lot of his characters are somewhere on the GLBT spectrum or have some sort of disability to it, and it's fairly well represented and well addressed. Like, Percy himself, I think, is upfront about his ADHD, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, he's very upfront about his ADHD. He's supposedly as part of being a god is that your brain works too fast for your body, which is very normal. So yeah, I actually kind of hope he animated, treating this like Avatar and whatnot, mostly because
I wouldn't complain about that. But I'd like the idea of live action because I mean, there's something about 3D that brings a character that's larger than life to life.
I think it would be benefit for though from animated because one there is like you said like
Oh,
7 books in the first there's
yeah.
5 books in the Mount Olympus saga alone, and each one is 1 year, and then there's a time gap between the last book in the
Mhm.
Camp Olympus to the uh,
To
Roman mythology.
the Roman mythology, yeah.
So there's a time gap. So I don't know because you will eventually age this character. He's going to be in his like mid-20s, going into summer camp because he's in high school.
Yeah.
Also, it lets you do some of the really weird
Hey,
hyper magic stuff that
Yeah.
exists, like his shield that his watch is. There's a watch that turns into a shield, his pen that turns into a sword, which is common, but like his stepbrother,
Mhm.
which is he shows up in the second or
Yeah,
third
I
book.
can't.
He's a cyclops that the
Yeah.
fog hides his eye. It makes it just looks like he's got hair over his face.
Yeah.
It's a good series. I really liked it, and yeah, I really hope that it goes forward or something. It will be interesting to see what Disney does with it because Disney Plus is where they can take a little bit of risk because they're like, oh, you paid for this, you got what you paid for, or you knew what you're getting into. They're
Yeah.
trying to be a little on the edge. Look at the Mandalorian and some of their other projects where they're
Yeah.
still making it family friendly. It's just it's definitely a little bit more mature. Like look at the last season of what was it, Rebels?
Yeah.
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 Um,
That was pretty interesting.
Now going for something that we loved and got turned into poop. HBO Max just decided to unload a full load of DC because HBO decided to do that. Starting off with this earlier in the week,
Doom
Doom
Patrol.
Patrol season 2 is going to simultaneously run on HBO Max and the DC Online series at the same day, starting June 25th.
Yeah. HBO Max, I think, has a lot of ties to Warner Brother, which is the controlling interest behind a lot of the DC movie universe.
They are the DC universe, basically.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers pretty much runs all of DC. They're the only ones, unlike Marvel,
Yeah.
that has like 2 studios. At one point, had way more than that going through all of them because of what happened during the 80s. But yeah, so
Yeah.
they're basically in control. It's kind of surprising that they're basically divvying out two, particularly Doom Patrol being DC's big, like, hey, you want to watch this because this is the only way to watch it. And the fact that they're like, hey, we're putting it on HBO Max also.
Yeah.
So that's going to be kind of interesting. And then something that is kind of surprising because a lot of people never thought we were really going to get this. HBO Max is also going to get the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League.
Yeah.
Which supposedly makes that movie better.
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping it also either further expands the infamous Martha scene or completely writes it. Or no, that wasn't Justice League, was it?
That was the Batman v Superman v
No, that was Justice League, I thought.
Nope. Justice League is after that because that's why he dies. Justice League, the whole thing was at the end of toward the end of the movie, he shows back up because they're like getting their ass kicked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
I guess never mind.
Yeah. No, this is going to be more hopefully explanations and whatnot. I did see a lot of that movie, but I've not really been a fan of Zack Snyder. I know I've been really vocal about this, but when the man doesn't really know comic books, and his statement is the greatest comic books were only good comic book was Watchmen and the Dark Knight.
No.
And the reason he thinks that is because that's where people died. He famously said that the Shield was only made to have sex with the Hulk.
No.
He's ignoring anything. And also, he didn't like the Martian Manhunter because he was stupid. His weakness is fire. And my statement is Superman weakness is a rock.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman's weakness was being tied up by men.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Zach,
But at the same time, like, hopefully it fixes a lot of shit. Because
I
their strongest movie to date has been Wonder Woman in her solo film, and followed by Aquaman, which is, if those are your two strongest properties, that should say something. That's nothing against Wonder Woman, which was an absolutely amazing film, or Aquaman, which I sadly have yet to see simply because I just shit's been weird, yo, recently for me. Um, yeah, it just when you have two of those in an ensemble movie and your movie is still shit, then maybe just something went wrong somewhere. Did you see how much it was going to cost?
yeah, the movie or what?
The full finishing the Snyder cut and releasing it is going to cost 20 to 30 million.
Okay, I don't know why.
Uh, Editing, re-edits, and reshoots.
Lots of pizza apparently. That must be some expensive pizza to get to everything. Um, I think that
How did you get pizza out of that?
because someone's going to spend a lot of hours editing that movie. So
Oh yeah,
I'm not going to say that the
but also
person
reshoots and things like that,
I most of the actors are a little yeah. That's going to be a thing. I don't know. I mean,
or at least
I know.
ADR, not if not full reshoot.
Uh, my thing is that DC wanted to be Marvel without working for it. They like wanted their Avengers.
Hmm.
They wanted their Black Panther, which was totally what Aquaman was. They wanted their movies without actually having to do the effort. I'm not saying that anything behind the protectionality, but I'm talking about the actors. I'm talking about like Marvel built a franchise for a decade. They built it in layers, and DC was like, "I want a Big Mac, and I want it now, and I want it to be as good as a high quality burger." As you use the food metaphor, and I just don't. I don't know. I mean, like you said, Wonder Woman being and Aquaman being their biggest blockbusters, and the fact that like those were the two movies Zack Snyder specifically wasn't attached to, um, should tell you that maybe stop letting him touch your movies. And this is not. I would like to say this is not attacking him as a person.
Hmm.
Because some people are like, oh, you didn't like Zack Snyder's movies, you don't like him as a person. No, I just don't like his
His
Zack
style.
Snyder's fine as a director as long as he stops touching comic book movies.
Yeah.
He's like Michael Bay. If I can get Michael Bay away from a computer to make just a film, he's actually a really good director, in my opinion. Painting Game is a great example of that. And speaking of
Michael
Michael
Bay.
Bay,
Let's see. This one just popped across my feed a few hours ago, so we have to share it. Michael Bay is in talks, not in talks, he has finished talks um, with someone else to produce the first pandemic film. And by pandemic, I don't mean the board game or the video game. I mean COVID-19 based pandemic movie. Now, I'm not entirely too sure if they're just filming during the pandemic, one of the first productions to essentially get back into production in full swing, or if they're actually storyline based on COVID-19. The movie title is currently known as Songbird. Let me look it up so I can share it with you.
but yeah, basically, apparently Michael Bay is going to be making a movie about a suspense thriller.
Pandemic themed thriller Songbird. Production starts in 5 weeks. And I'm going to share this to see if we can get it up on screen.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm gonna.
Like I said, I kind of hope so because it doesn't sound like he can make a.
I'll like Pocky pull it up.
Let's say just send me a link.
I did.
Show the screen.
Are you going to share the screen?
Yeah, show the screen.
All right.
I just feel that like he um, yeah, because I can't private chat with this. Okay, But yeah, I think, see, my thing is Michael Bay's really good at his job. When you stop having Michael Bay make animated features with live action people in it, mostly girls he finds physically attractive. Um, with that, I think he's really, really good. And yeah, apparently this is going to be a movie set during COVID-19, made during COVID-19, that will no way, shape, or form be dated by the time this movie gets out. Because this is at least 6 to 8 weeks out.
Yeah.
And no one, I don't know, they've got to really promote this. I don't know, maybe Nicolas Cage in it will make it better. But they put Nicolas Cage in this, I'll watch it.
Well, I mean, it looks like the way they're going to do it is kind of um, almost kind of take the Blair Witch and Cloverfield direction with it, is what it looks like. They, yeah, just by the description, because a lot of it is going to be. It looks like it's going to be very
found footagey.
A lot of the actors are being given remote training. All of the various guilds that are involved in the movie production, whether it's the Screen Actors Guild, the Grip Guild, the Electricians Guild, you name it, all of them have their own separate safety protocols that they're still compiling before their people can get back to work. And Michael Bay and Adam Mason have run all of their plans by these guilds, and all the guilds have said, okay, that's actually doable. Let's go ahead and do it, which actually lends credence to the idea that they're maybe doing a Cloverfield or Blair Witch style movie, which for a pandemic themed movie might actually be pretty entertaining. And it's actually being directed by Adam Mason, so who wrote the script of Simon Boyes, or Boyes, I don't know how to pronounce that name, but you know who I'm talking about. It's here, this name. It's here on my screen. I mean,
yeah, okay, I got it. Yeah. So, but it sounds like they're going to be doing a found footage movie. It sounds like they're going to be doing a bunch of just really interesting stuff. Like I said, this doesn't seem like Michael Bay will be able to pay it up. I think this will be kind of interesting, which is fine.
Bay, it sounds more like he's just being attached as a production manager rather than in any sort of directorial role. Like I said, it's with Adam Mason is the one directing it, and I don't know what Into the Dark is one of his films that they mention, but I'm not sure I'm familiar with anything else that's been produced by Adam or been directed by Adam Mason. Are you looking that up right now?
No, I'm looking at something else, but he does own a production company.
Yeah, Michael Bay owns his own production company. I'm going to stop streaming this.
Yeah, so Michael Bay owns his own production company, so that he probably is just a producer. He's probably Steven Spielberg in this.
Yeah.
He's living a Steven Spielberg lifestyle, which is he just gets to put his name on it, and probably like he's probably taking a little bit vested interest in this, because if he can be the first production company to like start producing movies during all this and have to basically figure out a way around everything for state, local, and government laws,
to follow all authorities, including the guilds, which actually have slightly more authority on film production than state and local governments. If you're part of a guild or you're hiring anybody in a guild, you have to abide by guild rules.
So I think, yeah, if Bay can get to be the first guy off the ground and he can basically dictate how like he's making movies, production companies will really, really, really like it, and so studios will like it. I know the movie theater industry will probably really, really appreciate it, because now they can have a movie in their movie theaters.
This might also see a rise in that kind of found footage storytelling again. I know there was a slight uptick right after Blair Witch and Cloverfield, but this might be much like Iron Man was kind of the forerunner of the current trend in superhero movies. This movie may just be that push to bring a found footage genre to the forefront.
See, you had me on this until you mentioned that. Now I don't want this movie to ever happen, because the found footage Gee, you gotta remember.
I enjoy found footage to a point. It can be done well, as long as they don't take themselves too seriously.
You also have to remember that we haven't really stopped having found footage movies. They release like 2 or 3 of them, particularly in the horror genre, a year, and that's not including the mockumentary and like all the other stuff. So, uh,
What was the last big found footage movie?
VHS 2. I'd have to look it up, but no, the horror genre loves
Yeah, the
the
found
found footage because it basically just means you can not show things. You can have the whole oh my god, Joe, no, camera falls over. Yeah, no, the like God, how many found footage movies was there? Like almost like 5 or 6 of like a summer for like 10 years. Like God, they did not stop making those. Unfriended was recent. Was
Okay. Okay, you
that
may
was
have a point.
now they're making found footage movies out of Skype and internet phone calls. F you guys, stop turning our stuff into cool, uncool things. Oh God,
Okay,
damn.
Skype was never cool. I'm going to say that Skype was never cool.
True,
It
true,
was
but you know
never
what I'm saying.
the thing.
Don't horrify my
Don't
conference
horrify
call.
your TikTok.
Don't horrify TikTok. Yeah. There's sort of a thing with that. I think it was something that was horror. It was Catfish or something. Like they turned a dating site into a horror movie. Oh, also
The
I
only
think
thing that I'm familiar with in terms of catfishing or catfished is the MTV show of the same name, which is of questionable morality and
no, there was a horror movie about a guy who like meets a girl in line. They have a conversation for like a year. He's going to surprise, like he's going to go meet up with her, and then it turns into a found footage horror movie. He's gonna like film his entire time meeting her, and like it turns into this. You did what you didn't know about her is this.
Oh, okay. That may be more of a thing you're more familiar with than I am, because you know my issues with horror movies. Nope.
So speaking of things that also are happening, unfortunately, or unhappening, Ruby Rose leaked Batman.
Yeah. That one, I'm actually kind of surprised with, because from what I understand, despite like the inevitable, because fanboys are toxic mother flippers. We're live. I can't curse. Sorry. Is that was actually doing pretty well from what I understand. I can't watch it because I don't have access to that channel. But all of the people that I follow that have watched it were pretty into it from what I understand. I mean, it looked good. It had Ruby Rose as Batwoman, and they really did the push, and they're still pushing for and recasting a member of the GLBT community to play the lead role, because Batwoman herself, Katie Kane, yeah, no, not Katie Kane.
I think that's right. Hold on. I need to look that one up.
But
correct.
Batwoman herself is very openly lesbian, which is, I mean, they're, which, I mean, I'm all for it. We need more representation in higher tier categories. Katie Kane, I was right. Thank you.
Katie Kane is her. So you know, I always like remembering this, that Katie Kane being a lesbian is one of the greatest ironies in comic books ever. Because she was introduced with another character to be Batman and Robin's girlfriends.
Yeah, in the 60s.
Yes, in the 1960s, she
Were
was
they introduced in the live action or in the comics?
Just the comics.
Just the comics. So I know they did something similar in the Adam West can't be as beautiful Get Out production.
So yeah, basically she was introduced, and yeah, they were basically wanting to. I'm trying to find her first appearance because this keeps giving me 2005. I'm like, yeah.
Her first solo appearance, I think, was 2005.
Yeah. But she was before that. She was in comics before that. she basically, this is where we wish we had Brad. This is where Brad will show up and later on, and somehow he'll kick down my door, going, "You fools! Let me explain." Damn it, Brad, where are you? We need you. But yeah, basically, she was introduced to basically make Batman seem heterosexual because there was questions about it seems kind of inappropriate. These two men running around together, and it's all like, quick, give him a girlfriend. Because at the time they couldn't allow Selena Kyle, Catwoman, to be his girlfriend because comic book code basically said evil, evil, good, good, evil, not good, good, evil, good, 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 bad, 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 good. Um, yeah, it's kind of interesting. I am kind of sad to see. Apparently, what some of the rumors playing around is that she was it was more of the hours. She's used to doing very short bursts. The fact that basically when they film these TV series,
Mhm.
they have incredibly long hours, but then
Yeah.
they make up for it for like networking for 3 months or 2 months.
Yes.
And so she was not really used to it. There was an incident with her in the middle of season 1 where she'd end up being hospitalized and part of her um, body was busted up. I'm trying to remember. She had an accident of doing one of her own stunts,
Yeah.
and so she was used to doing like she did Orange is the New Black, and she was used to that, but she was in a lot of the episodes. And there's one thing to be a side character versus a main character.
There is a lot of work being a main character that appears in every episode or almost every episode. That and Orange and the New Black had very little in terms of action sequences, even in like Ruby Rose's storylines. So there's a lot more physical work that goes into playing an action hero too, and I don't know if she was quite prepared for that.
She, she was prepared for the stunt part. I think she just wasn't ready for the amount of stunt,
Yeah.
or the fact that like hey, you're gonna finish these 3 stunts, and then in 2 or 3 days we got three more stunts we have to do, and it was kind of a big deal. The fact that she's also the face of the brand, and for DC, like I
That
mean,
means like a lot of appearances.
Supergirl and the Flash being as as predominant as they are, like he is in my mind more than Zack Snyder's uh, Flash. The new face of the Flash is the I forgot his name.
Not Ezra Miller.
Hold
Okay, I'll let you look that up. While you're looking that up, I actually have an update for you
on.
on something.
What's
The
that?
original Batwoman was Kathy Kane
Oh,
in
that's
1956. Katie Kane is not actually Kathy Kane, so therefore they are not the same character.
no, she's
Most
the
likely.
Grant Gustin.
Yes.
He is the face he is the face of the Flash. So I mean, and yeah, it's kind of a big deal. I mean, with Supergirl and the Flash, their stunts, and I'm not saying that they're not doing stunts. They both do incredible amount of stunt work
Oh yeah.
individually, and they both have their stuntmen. But like that was Batwoman versus the Flash. There's a very large difference about the amount of stunts that happens. The one is real, and one versus one that is green screen, and I can see where she's like, I thought this was going to be. Well, she thought it was going to be easier. I just probably she didn't think it was going to be as grueling as it was, and she was very intense. And I'm also kind of hoping the fanboys didn't win this one. I hope that they basically come up and say like, "No, you didn't win this battle."
Yeah, I really no. There is a person that is thinking about stepping into the role, and I have to make sure it is who I'm thinking it is. One of the Brooklyn Nine-Nine actresses. I think it's Stephanie Beatriz, detective.
Yeah. But
yes, Stephanie Beatriz is maybe thinking about stepping in. Yeah, she's given hints that she wants to play Batwoman, and her work as Rosa Diaz in Brooklyn Nine-Nine is actually pretty good and may give her a bit of a boost in getting her that role. And if she ends up playing Batwoman herself, she fits the role because she herself is, I believe, lesbian. Um, and I mean, she's got the physique, she's got the knowledge and know-how of doing her own stunts, because there is some light stunt work in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It is a police procedural for all that it's also a comedy. And so
Does that mean we get Terry Crews at one point in the series? That'd be right. I just all I gotta say.
yeah, Terry Crews is what was the one lantern? Hal Jordan? Is he though?
Yes, that would be great. No, John Smith.
John Smith, yeah. John Stewart.
John Stewart, yes. He's named, yeah, because you always got to think John Stewart. Yeah, Terry Crews and John Stewart would be great.
I could see that. Just like making a brief appearance.
So what they should do is get the real actor who plays John Stewart, and then Terry Crews comes walking in with the suit on and goes, "Hey guys, look at this costume I found." And they're like, "Oh," and they're like, "No, that's the real Green Lantern over there." But just to freak all the fans, that'd be hilarious. Because then everyone would
have John Stewart. I know they have a Supergirl cast, Martian Manhunter, John.
Yes,
but I don't think they cast Green Lantern for John Stewart, did they?
No, they haven't cast John Stewart yet. The only other hero of color they have is Black Lightning in his own series.
Yes, which I still need to watch because that looks just amazing and relevant and just hits all the right notes. So, but that's not for tonight. my poor watch history list. I've been so focused on like living and, not dying and writing. My to be watched pile has like increased exponentially. So moving on from Ruby Rose.
Now this is the one that makes me sad.
This is the one that's gonna stab Pocky in the heart, and I love you.
Yeah, this is the one the wife had to cuddle me over because I mean we weren't going, so
we weren't going, but there's a lot of stuff that happens at Gen Con, and
unfortunately, so Gen Con got canceled. To be fair, I thought this had already happened, but yeah, apparently Gen Con
did officially cancel. They were probably talking about it ahead of time, but here's the thing that everybody has to remember about a lot of these events canceling what seems like last minute. It's actually kind of a contractual obligation. If you have a contract for a venue, some of the only ways you can get out of that contract without ending up in massive amounts of debt is to endure an act of God. And COVID-19 is technically an act of God, but that act of God can only be declared within a certain amount of time of the event happening. So what may look to people like, took y'all long enough to announce this, why couldn't you announce this months ago when you knew this may be a possibility? It's more of they kind of can't until they know for sure that if they cancel it, they're not going to end up in large amounts of debt. And considering that Gen Con takes over not only the Indianapolis Convention Center, takes over part of the Colts Stadium for its gaming, it's a pretty big convention. And they want to make sure that even if they lose a little bit of money, they're not going to lose their entire shirts. Like, canceling for Gen Con is a big thing. It's kind of like canceling South by Southwest. It's why they waited so long to cancel South by Southwest this year, is because they wanted to make sure that their insurance company wasn't going to, knock them on their butts, because, I mean, can't guarantee a thing.
So, but yeah, with Gen Con, that was the problem. Is a lot of also people are facing it. There was a lot of, particularly like Savage Worlds and Nickel Press and a couple other groups that were like, they had backer awards that were like, at Gen Con, if you can get there, we have this thing for you.
Yeah.
There was also major players that were like, not major players in the tabletop gaming industry, like Fantasy Flight and whatnot, that release product ahead of time that basically people get sometimes months in advance, and they announce their big announcement. This is like the E3, and this is this basically like the E3 of tabletop gaming. For those who aren't aware, it's 4 days long.
Yeah.
Some people say it's actually technically six.
Yeah, because there's a lot of pre-parties and a lot of after parties and everything.
Actually,
And
call it post hangover.
yeah,
So
post-convention hangover.
so yeah, basically the day before is what they call there's an unofficial event or an unofficial official event that is like a big gathering of people. It's where they do a big.
It's a lot of industry socialization. It's not open to the general public, but if
Well,
you're industry, it's kind of a preview day.
there's also a swap day. That's where the swap
Yeah,
is.
the swap day is also
The
that day.
swap is on that day, that thing, and then it's basically 4 days of nonstop tabletop role playing,
The
tabletop
panels.
gaming card. Every year, if you ever look it up, there's someone every year they get all these magic cards and they make statues out of them. These incredibly elaborate like
Magic.
statues and buildings out of magic cards. Um, there's thousands of games of just name a role playing game and system setting, and that will be yours.
Yeah.
Um,
Gen Con is essentially the San Diego Comic Con of the tabletop gaming community. And by tabletop gaming, I mean everything that is played in person on a table, whether it's card games, board games, tabletop RPGs. If it's on cardstock or in print, Gen Con covers it. There is some good news coming out of this. Part of their announcement saying that they canceled Gen Con um, is the announcement that they're moving pretty much everything that can be moved online to an online platform. Uh, it's going to be on the same weekend, same days that the original Gen Con is going to happen, July 30th through August 2nd. Uh, Unfortunately, there is not a whole lot of information on what exactly Gen Con Online is going to entail,
yeah,
but
basically they haven't announced it yet, but
they've announced it. There is if you go to gencon.com/online, this is what you're going to see. Let me pull it up.
but yeah, just kind of give people. I'm just trying to see if I can find the photo of this.
Here we are.
Keep finding other people's
There.
stuff. Basically, there are photos. Yeah, type in Gen Con 2029. Okay, I'll share that screen.
Yeah. And this is literally all you get so far. And last year they actually did something pretty brilliant for those that can't get up to Gen Con in person. They did a mini con at a lot of places around the United States. I know our local Dragon's Lair was one of them that did a mini Gen Con.
Yeah, they're official things. They had badges. They had everything.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
it was pretty intense.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
But Gen Con Online, one of our friends regularly goes, and it's an intense thing. Like it's regularly like when I say it's
They fill up the entire. We're gonna stop here, but
yeah.
The entire Indianapolis hotel structure around it is full. They treat hotel rooms as a lottery system. It's pretty intense. So, but with all that, it happens and everything, and it's 4 days. People sometimes say 5 or 6. It's it's saying we are sad to see that it's shut down. It does kind of worry me that that means other things like Dragon Con. I know Harley will not be very sad if that gets shut down because that's big Harley in there, and this may be the year without a con, and that's going to be kind of sad.
Yeah. Here, I'm going to actually show y'all something. One more. We mentioned how big Gen Con gets.
I try to.
Yeah, I found it.
Okay, I was trying to find a website that just had the picture.
There.
That's the Indianapolis Colts Stadium.
And
That's part one. That's not even including the actual stadium. So
yeah, this is the floor of the field of Colt Stadium. That is a football field for reference. And it is packed to the brim. And this isn't including what's in the convention hall. I don't know if that's that's the doors to the main expo hall.
That's one of the doors.
One of the doors.
So yeah, but that's so yeah. You're getting guys the idea. So basically, as we all know, that it is sad that this is closing. It is ending.
Mm-hmm.
Or not ending, but it is. Uh, they're still not talking about whether or not any Gen Con is actually going to be moving.
Yeah, the magic card castles.
Oh, well, I guess I should show that
For
off.
right now,
No,
Gen Con, I don't know if they're going to be looking at getting out of their contract in Indianapolis for the time being. But this may actually give them an easy out.
because
They were looking to get out of Indianapolis for a while, but their contract took them into 2020 and beyond. So
yeah. I don't remember how long. They know how they have. I know they have a listing of all their convention tickets for sale. So and it's pretty extensive, and it'll be kind of neat to see.
you see who gets Gen Con next.
So yeah, it's so. But yeah, with all that, it's
Mhm.
with that it is kind of sad to see that one close. Like I said, now we kind of worry about. Um, we have to worry about like the last, I guess the last of the conventions.
Which is it's one of the big ones in San Diego. I don't think it's SDCC itself.
There's SDC and Dragon Con, which are the last.
Yeah, Dragon Con is the one that's.
I think yeah, Dragon Con was the one I was thinking of. So
I'm gonna go ahead and one of my favorite photos,
okay.
just because it's fun looking. People showing off their stuff, all of their tabletop games. Wondering if we're gonna find a familiar face in this crowd.
So,
because we know a few people who regularly go to Gen Con.
Yeah. So unfortunately, yeah, that is sadly canceled. We are going to have to think. But now, so the next one is this was supposed to be a Harley story, but Dunkaroos, the cookie,
the cookie frosting treat,
is back for like, was it $2?
Yeah, $2 local 7-Elevens. We might actually see if we can go find some later this evening. Maybe
not. Nope. So, well,
yeah, we still have cake at the house.
Yep. But with that, they're back. 7-Eleven has them, and in honor of Harley and the return of Dunkaroos, I bring you this.
Once you find yourself in the middle of most sandwich cookies, you'll find there's not so much middle in the middle. But now there's new cookies and cream Dunkaroos. You can make a sandwich cookie with as much frosting as you want in the middle. Because you take special chocolatey cookies and dunk them into creamy white frosting, then put them together for a sandwich cookie that puts you in the middle of a lot of fun. New cookies and cream Dunkaroos. Lots of middle.
Lots of fun.
That's right. Dunkaroos is back. So that means we get to have cancel. Dunkaroos is back, and we now get to have fun commercials reminding us that we could make our own cookies with our own somewhat filling attached to it, somewhat cream filling attached to it. So that's hilarious, and I thought that was fun to share. But yes, Dunkaroos is back. Which is, I have a question: is what other 90s your childhood or your childhood era snacks would you like to see come back? Because we've already had we have Dunkaroos. We've had a couple of snackies and drinks. I know Ghostbusters brought back the Ectoplasm, the Ecto Cooler.
Oh, here's speaking of nostalgia, there is a current trend that I'm sure everybody's seen so far. I've got to get a.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I would like to see. Like everything I grew up with is sadly kind of mostly still around. There's a thing. I remember that being a weird deal.
Do you remember Orbits?
Oh yeah, Orbits. I remember.
God, I loved Orbits.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems kind of.
So, this is not a food nostalgia thing. This is actually just a genuine nostalgia. There is currently trending on a lot of the social media sites that support hashtagging redraw Sailor Moon. And I don't know who else is delighted by this, but it tickles me pink that this is a current trending hashtag because I've seen everything from serious, oh my god, this is amazingly technically detailed, to really hilarious riffs on Sailor Moon from a particular scene. And I don't know why they chose this scene in particular. I think it's just because it's a really fun, dynamically posed scene. But just the fact that it's like up there. Did it actually get sent to you?
It did. It just I don't want to.
Okay, you don't want to pull it up?
Because it's also a lot of. It's to see more images. I have to go through the website and refuse to give the clicks.
Okay.
But basically, yeah, basically the hashtag, and this is something I've noticed recently with all of COVID going on and whatnot, is that we've gotten a lot of, like, the Pass the Brush. Hold on. Pass the Brush has been really popular.
Yeah, I've enjoyed that one for the cosplay Pass the Brush challenges.
I also like this one, the drawing one. I like some of the food ones that have been going on. The leftover food challenge, which some of them, I agree with my brother. Some of them were like, so you get a burrito from a Taco Bell and you empty it out and you put some salad dressing on it. Now you got a salad. I'm like, unlike let's say Benjamin with Babbage, that like, okay, so you get the chicken and you get this fried chicken. And like I went to my local, mom and pop fried chicken place up in upstate New York, and we skin the chicken off. And I'm gonna slice up the chicken, turn it into this. And, like he made fried chicken and waffles, and looked really delicious.
Yeah, I love binging with Babbage.
But I like that people are being creative with like being stuck at home and whatnot and everything else, and it's kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, the amount of creative from our community during this has just it's actually kind of gives me a little bit of hope, not gonna lie. I mean, we're making do with the best we can, and that kind of keeps me going sometimes because I've technically been under a self-imposed quarantine for other health reasons since about November.
For us, November ended 3 days ago. Tuesday. So for us, November ended on Tuesday.
It was yesterday.
So, but yeah, it's been overall, it's really fun to see that, like,
yeah.
I noticed that I remember a lot of this during like other really bad points in our history where we had some stuff go down, and it's like the geek community is all like, "Hey, what can we do about this?" Like,
the geek community has always stepped up. And that's not to say we don't have our own mental health issues coming into this and coming out of this. And please, if you do, don't be afraid to reach out for help. That's like the best thing you can do. Don't reach out to me because I'm not a licensed psychologist. I mean, I can.
I don't think you over there.
But reach out to a professional if you need it. Don't be afraid of that. Because this is also known as a period of collective trauma, and while we're coping with it the best we can, and I'm loving the creativity that's inspired in a lot of people, it's still a collective trauma. Not gonna lie.
So with that, we're going to be up to the end tonight, and I just really appreciate everyone watching us. Who has been watching us? I'm not really totally sure. But I was going to end tonight sharing a video because Harley likes certain things.
Oh no!
And I was like, you know what? We need to make certain things happen. And,
oh no!
Oh yes. I'm genuinely a horrible person.
Oh no!
Here we go. This one's for you, Harley.
Ladies and gentlemen, mine is Dominant all the way from Tokyo. The Euromeister, Mr. Takeru Ishii.
Pilipinas ako'y mapikanga Haplawan may bibigyan to panga Kay may bibigyan ko kepipi Kay may bibigyan ko yasuti
You're welcome. Japanese German style polka yodeling.
To chicken.
Just because I could.
I like Takeishi. Just
that was before the chicken attack. That was the first song he ever did.
Yeah.
At least that one that got popular. So
there is some good news that for all those who are paying attention at home. We do return to the studio for Brad's Red Web on June
June
9th,
9th.
which is in 2
Tuesdays.
weeks.
2 Tuesdays
So
from now.
we'll be back in the studio following every safety precaution we possibly can because I'm still not technically cleared for massive crowds. But and by the way, for those of you who are just coming in, I was diagnosed with cancer in November, and Tuesday was my last official treatment ever, hopefully. So I'm
Yeah.
still kind of, that's why I've been in kind of self-imposed exile since November.
So with
I'm
with- yeah, so with that, we're gonna bring back Bad to a web. We're actually gonna be putting a lot of our stuff online now. Jill and Harley are going to be making doing
a show.
their
I
thing.
don't remember what their title is, but we will be doing a lot of stuff online as well going forward. And this was all in the works even before COVID-19 was a lot of stuff going to online live platforms just because it makes sense for us. Brad's Web will still be live on Awesome Public Access in addition to our live streams. We've also got a couple of new shows in the works. We've also got a couple of new podcasts coming up soon. We're not going to go into detail just yet because some of those aren't set in stone, and those that are set in stone, I've kind of are on an NDA outside of, hey, this thing is going to exist at some point. Let's talk a little bit about it. Let's get up some hype.
And also with that,
a couple
yes,
of projects.
can I talk now?
Yeah, sorry.
Man, you just went diarrhea them out there. You were like a super villain just going all over town.
Hey, you know you.
So, yes, I was like trying to stop you. I was like, calm down. But with that, yeah, we'll be bringing more Learn to Roleplay back as soon as we finish editing more episodes. We've got a whole bunch of other things in the projects, but right now we are going to be calling it here shortly. But we thank everyone for watching and with this, I leave you all guys a question. What is going to be your creative thing you're going to try to make at the end of all this? But here at about 8:30 or so, I'll be streaming on my channel on Mixer, and so it's Pocky _ Kaiju Love Media, KLM, and you can watch me there where I'll be playing something. I promise it'll be good and entertaining.
Yes.
Maybe.
I might even be a guest.
Probably not.
Probably not.
You'll be definitely in the background. So with that, we'll definitely be wishing you guys a good day and a good night.
Yes.
Be safe. Good night to each other, and we will.
Yeah, keep an eye out for Super Gamer Brothers tomorrow. And then we will be back next Wednesday. I may not be back unless I'm needed again. But
we'll have a bunch of stuff up on live.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And also don't forget, Gavin will be streaming on Sundays and a bunch of people going on. So thank you guys so much again for watching, and we'll be talking to you next week or Wednesday.
All right. Talk